is up, everybody? Hi, it is your girl, Nikki, back at it again. I am back from my sabbatical. Well, I'm sort of back. I make no guarantees on how back this being here now is. You know what I mean? I could potentially be back for weeks on end. I might not be. I don't know. But isn't it kind of fun to just get me when you can? I just felt so much that I needed to drop an episode because I've missed you guys. I've missed chit chatting, even though just truly this is me talking alone in my room to my wall right now. But I genuinely feel like we're having a conversation. Like you and me, we're hanging out. And we're just chit-chatting and you're listening in on the latest in my life. And once I'm done and I shut up, then you're gonna go. Except in this scenario, you don't go. So it's just me. But I'd like to think that I hear you in my head, you know? Like, I hear your responses. I read your DMs, so I hear you that way. And I have just missed the hangout. So I'm back. And you want to know what? I'm actually staring at my wall right now, and I have something funny to say, because currently on my wall is a bunch of Post-it notes, and the top of it, so it's kind of like rows and rows and rows of Post-it notes with a bunch of questions, and at the very top it says, have you ever used a vibrator before? And then on separate sides of the wall, you have no, and then you have yes. And then you have all of these Post-it notes with a bunch of different questions and categories and things, because I'm currently storyboarding my future quiz that I'm gonna make, where, guys, can I just explain to you my vision? Okay, here it is. So my plan is that you can download my quiz, and it'll take like, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes to take it. And it will start with the question, have you ever used a vibrator before? Yes or no? And let's say the answer is no. You then go to the different categories of, external, internal, dual. And for a lot of people that are my audience, religious people who are very overwhelmed by the thought of using a vibrator, have no idea what they're in for, what they're doing, this is who I'm making this for, truly. So my goal and kind of idea is to make it like a BuzzFeed quiz, like, which Harry Potter house are you? I want you to be able to like click on these images, and then they'll flip, and then they'll have the information of like, what does this word mean? What does this look like? And then it'll be all these categories, and you can kind of filter and basically determine, even if you've never used something, what interests you the most, what is going to kind of meet your goals of why you're wanting to purchase something or what you're interested in. So that way it's customized to you and your preferences, because what happens in sex stores, this is one of my specialties, is looking at products and looking at how they market versus how they actually work, and what real people have to say about their usage of the product. And especially coming from a religious lens, like, a huge priority for a lot of people is to be able to use something in conjunction with their partner. It doesn't necessarily have to, but that's usually a big priority for the people I work with. So something may market itself as like a couple's toy, but there's things that it won't tell you, like the fact that there is a patent on the design of a hinge with WeVibe, whereas the other places don't have that. There was actually a lawsuit between Lilo and WeVibe, these two major brands. And I know none of this matters to you, at least right now in this moment, but the point is, these categories that the boxes have checked of, like, it's gonna give you the biggest orgasm of your life, and it's gonna hit your G-spot. First off, that's not even freaking real, okay? Your G-spot doesn't exist. Like, what your G-spot is it's your clitoris that you're feeling from the inside of your vaginal canal, but it is your clitoris. And all of this I'm gonna talk about more in depth on my other podcast, which I'll get to in a second. But they market these things in a very certain way, and it makes it difficult to really determine like what things actually do, because they're telling you that it does it all when in reality it doesn't. Like, the function of it may say that it's going to be amazing for, I don't know, let's say couples hands free, but maybe it really won't be because what you're looking for is something that can be used like during penetration. And this one doesn't have a hinge design, so it's just going to slip out. Or if you're looking for like a one that you can wear out and about with a remote, it's going to say, absolutely, I can do that. But like maybe it doesn't have a strong enough magnet for the type of underwear that you wear. And all of these things you would just never know. You just don't know this stuff because it's not available. They don't tell you these things. But I am here to tell you. I am here to help people make an informed, educated decision based on factual information and basically like potential pros and potential cons, because everyone is so different. Every body is different. What people want is different. Preferences, everything. So my goal and hope is to create this quiz that people can take that will really filter genuinely based on your answers and what you're saying is most important to you. And it will filter down until your final result will be like 5 product suggestions, and it will tell you why these products are suggested for you, like which categories you picked as important, that these ones might check, and like why this is recommended. And then you can have links to purchase them from. My goal is to have it be from a small business owner, because I really want to support small business owners. So all of this is currently storyboarded on my wall via post-it notes, so that I can figure out exactly what I want the like quiz to look like, and then figure out how to relay that information to a programmer to make it for me. And you know, is there a part of me that's like, I should not reveal this because until it's made, because, you know, someone could steal my idea? But you know what? I think that there's room enough for all of us. And I think what I'm bringing is very unique. The perspective that I have is extremely unique in this particular space. I am the least biased person that you will ever come across when it comes to this space in particular. I can speak to the experience of not knowing something and wanting to discover, like, more than I think anybody else, because that is the position that I'm in. Is like, not only do I represent my audience in that, I am someone in that, like demographic of, it's like, okay, I've never used one of these. So what do I actually want to know? What do I need to know before I go in and make a purchase? You know, you can't just sell me on an idea because I don't know this information. I mean, of course, now I do. But I didn't at first years ago, like 5 years ago. And the audience that I serve usually doesn't have information about, like, what is internal, external, come hither movement. They don't even know that the G-spot isn't real. Like, what is clitoral stimulation, high stimulation versus low stimulation? The, different places you can orgasm from. People don't just know this information, and then they end up feeling really stupid that they don't know it, as if it's supposed to be just general things that we know. That's not true. So I am here. I'm here to make it accessible, make it not scary, make it the least intimidating thing possible, and to make it fun, to make it interesting, to make it educational, that someone's like, wow, I just learned so much by taking that quiz, and now I feel more confident in, a purchase, because these types of items, they are difficult because, you can't return them, and they can cost a lot of money, and that can be really disappointing, especially if you're getting it kind of for a lot of people, as this like last resort, last hope, that it's going to help save something in your marriage or whatever. I don't necessarily think that's how you should be getting them, but like, if that's where you're at, and this is a tool that you're using and that you're really, really hoping will help, and then you end up buying it and it's just not what you're needing or wanting, that can be devastating, absolutely devastating. And I want to help people avoid that. So I am creating a quiz coming soon. I have so many things coming soon, but like they really, really are. I just don't have a timeline yet because it's just me. It's just me over here working on my little heart out. And I also, right now, I have 3 jobs. I applied for a 4th, so I'm hoping to get a 4th job this summer. And that's on top of, my many projects, including this podcast, which is why I have not been around. But I told you guys this. I warned you of this. You all know the drill. You know what's happening in my life right now. You know I'm in grad school. You know I'm in Australia. You know that I am just hanging on by a literal thread. So thank you for being here. Thanks, guys. And I'm just so happy to be talking to you while I stare at the words. What does it say right there? It says tapping, rotating, high vibration, volume, hand stimulation, open-ended. Yeah, like me, you, and my post-it notes. We're here together today. And I'm just delighted to be here. Should we play my intro song now? 11 minutes in? Yeah, I think so. Are we kidding? Oh my gosh, I love that. If this is someone's first episode, girl, sorry. We're not, we are like this. This is what to expect, but also usually my intro plays within the first 30 seconds to a minute, okay? Normally I don't go on that big of a rant. But if you are new here, hi. The reason that I am so passionate about all things sexology and sex and vibrators and all this stuff is because, guys, my new podcast is coming out. It's coming out hopefully next week. Well, hopefully it will come out next week. I have to drop it next week because I've committed to dropping it next week. And I am so freaking excited and nervous about it, but I'm so hopeful that this could potentially be what I'm hoping it will be. I want it to succeed so much that it's quite vulnerable, when you really put yourself out there in such a major way with the thing you are most passionate about in the entire world, just knowing that people might not want what you have. That's so vulnerable, but I'm very excited. My sex ed podcast, The Virgin Sex Educator, is gonna drop next week with my first few episodes. So my first ones are going to be 2 different interviews that I actually have uploaded on here, but I think I might take them off. I don't know yet. But I have a couple interviews, and I'm gonna download. I've done, I think, 4 interviews now. So all of my interviews specifically about sexual education that I've done are going to be uploaded. Just boom, you can just listen to those. Then I'm going to have also like an introduction into what is sexology, kind of my background, my story into this field, being an active member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, being a celibate member, being someone that practices abstinence but learns all about sex, helps couples, helps individuals. Like, how does that work? I have an entire episode explaining just my background and kind of how I got here in this field. Then I'm tackling the top 20 questions that I get asked when I tell someone I'm a sexologist, but also specifically when I say that I'm a sexologist member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Because those have its own particular questions. For instance, the number 1 question that I probably get asked, there's a few, but honestly, it's almost guaranteed if I'm talking to someone who is also a member, they are going to ask me about masturbation. That is just absolutely a topic that everyone wants to talk about, but like, it is the most hush-hush. Sex is taboo, right? But masturbation is whatever level is above taboo. Like, it is Voldemort in, what is it, the fifth book? Like, he who shall not be named. Am I saying that right? The one, like, you literally can't speak of it. Like, you cannot speak of it. And I'm Harry over here being like, yeah, no, it's masturbation. Like, I'll say Voldemort, okay? You know what? I'm not scared. So I was really wanting to take all of my thoughts that I've had for the past few years, and especially this last year. I think I've been really honing in on my opinions, my personal opinions, but also a grander view that I can teach of masturbation that is very backed up in historical context and also like church standards and things that takes away the taboo, the shame, the sensationalism that is around masturbation. Like, it's just so scary for people. So I did a super big deep dive into the history of masturbation and Christianity. Like, how did we get here? How did this happen that this is one of the most untalked about, untouchable topics within Christianity, but I speak from the lens of within LDS culture. It is so scary for people, and so I wanted to understand truly where that came from, how long this has existed, not just within the church, but in the world, in the Abrahamic religions. But also I looked slightly into Jewish culture and how Buddhists, Sikh people, Hindu, like how they view it as well. And I actually found some beautiful teachings from Buddhist monks, I think it's Buddhist monks, regarding masturbation that I just connect with so much. So all of that, if this is an interesting conversation, if you're like, I want to learn about that, I want to hear about the history, I want to hear what Nikki's not only personal opinions, but also I really want to help people think about it in a different way and form their own opinions. That's ultimately my goal, is not to just take my word as doctrine. Like, no, this is what I have learned. This is the actual information. This is my interpretation, but ultimately I want you to be able to take the information and interpret it for you, for your family, for those, in your circles, to be able to explain it to them and come to a place of peace within yourself around all of these taboo topics, and for that one, with masturbation. So that is going to be on there. I'm also going to be talking about perimenopause and different hormone replacement therapy treatments for women who are menopausal. I have, what else? There's so many different topics. Oh, pain during penetration. All of the female sexual difficulties, so female orgasmic disorder, pain during penetration, which is shortly put as GPPD. It's a gynecological pain penetration disorder, pelvic pain, sorry. And then sexual arousal interest disorder. I have tons of things to say about that, and especially its connection to religion and why we see such a huge prevalence within religious communities of women suffering with sexual difficulties, because that is my other specialty area, is sexual difficulty. We're going to talk about male sexual difficulty as well, early ejaculation, which is quite common among religious communities. We're going to talk about pornography. Guys, that one I'm pumped about, because I did about a month's worth of research for that. And I know, like, grand scheme, oh, okay, just like 1 month. No, I mean, obviously I've been thinking about this and like searching it and stuff for like years, but this is like 1 month of every single day reading peer-reviewed articles. And these articles can be anywhere from 5 pages to 150 pages. Like, these are doctoral theses on the subject of pornography. And I specifically want to get away from this narrative that the church especially has around the fear around pornography, the shame around it, and just come to a real understanding of what research says. And again, how we got here is that's so interesting to me. The historical context on a lot of these topics matters to me, because I'm like, where did we go wrong? Like, why do we think about this way? What does the data actually say versus what do we say it says? You know what I mean? So I look at not only the effects of pornography, men versus women, which, oh, wow, that is such interesting information. The way that men and women view pornography differently, even just their motivations behind watching it, completely different. Its effects on men and women, completely different. And then how it affects both men and women within heterosexual couples, because that's different than how it affects them individually. And then I also was interested in how it affected specifically adolescent males. So all of that is going to be discussed. I have a ton of other topics. Let me look at what my other topics are. Okay, here are just some of the other topics. What is the law of chastity? Like, nitty-gritty details. What counts? I put that in air quotes. What doesn't? Spoiler alert. I really stay away from checklists of, this is going to be okay and this is not, because ultimately I think the best teaching is about self-authoring and coming to a place of embracing sexuality within yourself and figuring out what your relationship to your sexuality is going to look like, because it's going to be different for everybody. But there are some guidelines for sure that are going to be across the board, and areas where it's like, okay, this is something to think about when you understand how your body works, how your, central nervous system works, how your pudendal nerve system works, where it connects, and then if you're doing these certain types of behaviors, how that's going to affect you. And then, so you can decide if that's okay or if that's something that would be crossing a personal boundary for you, rather than just telling you, like, this is okay and this is not. But I'm also really wanting to make sure that conversation has very practical tips and information about how to have those conversations as a single person, especially a single member of the church. If you are trying very diligently to be celibate before marriage and you are in a relationship with someone, like, how to communicate with somebody else truly what your boundaries are and what is okay and what is not okay, and what to you is going to be breaking the law of chastity, and being able to help you articulate maybe why the law of chastity is important. And instead of it just being like, oh, I just can't have sex. Like, no, there needs to be a deeper reason to you not having sex. Because I'm telling you right now, if the only reason that you're not having it is because you're scared, because you're naive, or because you have some idea that, like, if you, don't have sex, then you're going to just have this amazing marriage without having any sort of sexual education, like, that is going to be brutal when you actually get married and find out that that's not how things work, and then you end up in my office, 10 years down the road. And not that ending up in my office is a bad thing by any means. I hope everyone ends up in my office. But I hope you end up in my office with the question of, like, how do we spice things up, rather than with sexual dysfunction, because that's the majority of my clients that I see. And a lot of times it comes from a lack of conversation, a lack of knowledge, a lack of real critical thinking about why we are choosing to do something. You can have an overarching belief, within a religion of, like, yeah, we, the collective, says abstinence before marriage is what God said. Okay, great. But you, as an individual, why do you follow that? Because if it's just, because God said it. Okay, well, God also said a lot of other things, and you don't seem to follow all them. So, when it comes to like, you seem to be pretty judgmental. He told you not to do that. You seem to like gossip, and you seem to like do this and do that, and like, so what makes it that this is the hill that you'll die on? Like, why is this one more important? Oh, well, a lot of times then when you go that one step further, then it really turns to like, oh, well, because this is such a deep, deep, deep sin if I do it. And that is where I really want people to get away from, is this fear-based, sin-based narrative, because truly that is not what the law of chastity is all about. It's really, really not. And I think viewing sexual sin as, this sin that is so deeply bad, which is how it's taught, can be so much more harmful towards us and towards our acceptance of our sexuality and our understanding of our sexual nature and how it links to our spirituality. That is more detrimental than even just the act itself. Like, the narrative that we have around it is so much worse and does more damage, truly, in my perspective, than just if someone were to go have sex. You know what I mean? Like, that's not what this is actually about. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to help facilitate a conversation about what the law of chastity actually is, how to think about it a little bit differently, and especially that one is going to be for my singles, for my people who are wanting to practice celibacy, who are trying to practice celibacy, or for people who are divorced and then now being abstinent. That's actually going to be a completely different episode because celibacy versus, like, full celibacy, you can be half celibate, which is abstaining from sexual relations but still masturbate. Then you have, so it's partially celibate, then you have fully celibate, no masturbation, no sex, and then you have just abstinent. Well, it's kind of basically partial sexuality, but there's a slight difference. Anyways, divorced people who have gone from completely sexually active to now they're expected to be basically, again, celibate and asexual. That is really difficult, and I don't think that's talked about quite enough. I have a lot of divorced friends, a lot of divorced clients that come to me, and that's something that they really struggle with, is trying to define now what to do with their sexuality when they have been sexually active and now they're not. So that's a topic that I'm really excited to get into. Some other topics, sexual dysfunction treatment. I'm going to interview a pelvic floor therapist, hopefully multiple is my plan, to not only have, my lessons, but then I really am excited for the interviews that I have lined up. Sexual abuse. I am very, very keen to talk about that. Can you guys believe I just said that? Wow, have I been living in Australia for almost a year or what? I'm keen. Wow, that just like slipped out. I am keen. I am keen to talk about truly women who are in sexually abusive relationships and just domestic abuse in general. The misconceptions that we have that it's, non-educated women. That's not true. That's fundamentally untrue. I'm going to find the stats for you, but the majority are middle-class educated women, okay? So that myth that it's just like poor women, that's not true. Is that a huge demographic? Absolutely. But when we're looking at the types of manipulation and also the types of abuse, that does switch demographics wise. If we're talking sexual assault versus rape versus abuse, that can involve both of those things, but that's going to be different demographics of people, different ages, different education levels. But yeah, no, there's a lot of educated middle-class women who are in terribly abusive relationships. And so I want to get into discussion about how that happens, what kind of the mindset is there, really to understand more for myself, and also like how to support as a friend, and then as a victim survivor, like the tools that you need in order to get out. And for that conversation, I'm going to be interviewing my professor, actually, who got her PhD in, specifically, she did her PhD on domestic violence, and then she went to law school because she was like, well, if I'm going to make a real difference in this space, then I need to be a lawyer. So then she, on top of doing her PhD, went to law school and is now a lawyer for victims of domestic violence. So she, on top of all of that, also happens to teach at a local college. So, well, not a local, it's a big deal, actually, who she is. But yeah, so I'm going to have her on to have that conversation. So I think that one will be a really great episode, diving deep into a really sensitive but important topic for all of us. And, I get asked a lot about abuse and about, signs of abuse and stuff like that. So I really wanted that to be in my top 20 questions. Let's see. A couple others is how to dirty talk. Yeah, I get asked that a lot. I also get asked, what is kink? So there's going to be an entire thing, probably going to be titled, What is Kink? And we're going to discuss all the different types and categories, and all of these things are going to also have like resources. Go watch this, go read this. If you're interested in this topic, here is some really like great resources. These ones are more LDS friendly. These ones are a little bit more explicit. So, depending on your comfort level, because everything that I do is very, very conscious of my religious audience. So I want to make sure that I'm a trusted space where we can have these conversations and that people can feel like they're getting a lot of different types of information, but all of it fits within their value system and what they feel comfortable with. So everything is going to have resources attached to it, and I have some great books on kink. But yeah, how to dirty talk. I have created an entire lesson on that, actually, because I've taught quite a few people, quite a few couples how to do that. And I was like, you know what, this is a really fun lesson. And I've kind of broken it into different types of dirty talk to make it a little bit more clear and hopefully help people decide, okay, this is kind of the type that I like. Okay, this is the types of sentences that if this is what you're wanting, or wanting not only to give but to receive, like it's a little bit different. So that's a common one that I get is like, oh my gosh, like how do I do this? So that one's a fun one that I'm excited about. The effects of cancer on sexuality. That one's going to be a cool one. Widows and sexuality. And just another one, I don't know if I'll combine it or if I'm going to do it separate, but aging and sexuality. The fact that older people, anyone over like 60 is seen as asexual, and that is just really not true, and also very sad and painful for those individuals, because they should have a thriving sex life just as much as a 20-year-old couple. Yes, it's going to look different, but it should not be any less intimate and any less fulfilling to them, Let's see, divorce and refound celibacy. Yeah, all of these things. It's going to be great. Please go listen to it. Yeah, I'm going to launch next week with, I also am doing one on vibrators. One of my biggest presentations that I give is about vibrators. That one I definitely recommend watching instead of just listening, because I recorded it where you have my screen and I have all the different images of the products that I'm talking about, the different types. And that one I think is going to be just so helpful, because I give that presentation to literally hundreds of women. The biggest group I've ever given it to was like 350 at one time, but most of my groups is usually over 100. Typically women that I give that presentation to. So I was like, you know what? I am just going to make it accessible to everybody. Here you go. Here is all the things. And then based on that what I show you there, hopefully it'll get you really, really excited to take my quiz. Because you'll be like, oh man, okay, now I know about all these different categories and all this different stuff. Now I can take the quiz and find something that's customizable for me. And, okay, am I missing anything? The Virgin Sex Educator podcast coming next week and throughout this summer. So this podcast is probably going to get put to the back burner once again. Because, guys, I just have so much that's going on. And I'm really trying to get those 20 episodes before the summer is done on top of my 4 jobs. And trying to have a social life, which, trying and failing, but we're trying. And I have TV I need to watch. I need downtime. I did just binge Secret Lives of Mormon Wives season 3 yesterday. And when I say yesterday, I mean yesterday. I watched it from, I think we started at 1:28 and finished at 10:37. Oh my gosh. That was a phenomenal season of television. And the deep dive on that actually will be coming soon, genuinely, like probably in the next few weeks, because my friend Taylor, you all know her and love her, who I do all of the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives recaps with. She is watching it right now. So we'll probably record in the next 2 weeks, and then I'll just upload that episode so you guys can have at least something, something to munch on while I work on my sex ed podcast. And then you can just transition over to my sex ed podcast. So when you're missing me here, you can go over there. That one is going to be on Patreon. I know. I know. But listen, like, girl, let's be for real. You know how broke I am. You know that I gave up every single thing in my life to be here in Australia. I literally sold everything I own. You know this. If you don't know this, go listen to my other episodes, because you will start to understand just how much I genuinely have sacrificed to be here and to bet on myself, like to bet on my education, to really put all of my eggs in this basket, that it has to be somewhat successful in some way, because I will be desolate, crippling in debt in 9 months. So I really know, just deep in my heart, that this is not a mistake. That me coming here to Australia, giving it all up, selling everything, that this is going to be for the greater good of not only my career and my life, but for the greater good, genuinely, of my community. Like, that's who I am doing this for. I'm doing this because I want so deeply to bless the lives of my community, to help us all be lifted up and think about sexuality in a more healthy way, to have a better relationship, not only with ourselves, but with those around us, with our sexuality, with just intimacy in general. It doesn't even have to be sexual intimacy, but to be able to build intimate relationships and have those skills, practice the creativity and the beauty that is within us and that we're capable of, and that comes truly because we are sexual. We crave this connection with other people, and I want people to understand that. I want my community to get it and to feel seen and to feel heard, but also to feel uplifted and like they're not stuck in the current narrative that they have, that you can write a different story. And this one can be full of less fear and more hope and more fun. It can be fun. It can be sexy. It can be great. And it can all be within your value system. And I believe that what I have to say and the things that I have learned and the way that I can explain them to you is worth paying for. I do. as much as I would do this for free, and I do and I will for the rest of my life, like there's going to be things forever that I just will constantly be doing for free, especially working with church people, like, speaking to church groups. It's not like I'm charging for that, but I need a way to make this into a successful career that I can make money so that I can speak to groups of hundreds of women for free. I need a way to monetize my abilities, my skills, my voice, my education to help other people. And I feel like just right now in my life, I'm really trying to come to a place where I'm not embarrassed of that. Like, it's so hard to say that, hey, I need you to pay for this. Like, that's so difficult for me, especially with the culture that I've been raised in, to just give of everything. And I so believe in that. But I believe that people all want to help me. Like, that there are so many people that are willing to pay for what I have to offer, that it is worth their money, it is worth their investment, and they see the value in it. And I'm just trying right now to put more trust in that. And that is so hard. It's so hard because I just want everything to be available to everyone all the time, and I want that, but I need to pay off my debt. I need to be able to buy a car when I go back to Utah, because as it stands right now, I will be living back with my parents at 28 years old. No car, no money, no prospects. I'm gonna need something. Okay? Oh, just a mountain of debt and like crippling anxiety. But no, we are holding that all at bay. And I am going to produce a podcast that, yes, you do have to pay for, but it's going to be worth your money. That I don't want to say I can guarantee, but I really do believe it is going to be worth every penny, because I want it to be. That is my deepest desire, is I want it to be something valuable. And I am so willing to pay for the subscriptions that I have, and I love the subscriptions that I have. And so I'm like, you know what? There's going to be people that are willing to do that for what I have, that feel the same way, that are like, absolutely, girl, take my money, because I love you and I love your stuff and I love everything that comes out of your mouth. That's me with Dr. Jennifer Finlay, some 5. Literally anything that woman produces, I'm like, yeah, swipe my credit card. Her new book, by the way, changed my life. Phenomenal. So good. So, as of course it was going to be. Like, are we kidding? Of course it was. I love her stuff. But yeah. Whew, my gosh. I don't think I really breathed there for like 30 minutes. Oh, I just, I'm so worked up about it, because it's nerve-wracking, and it's everything that I am, that I'm putting out there, and I'm putting a price tag on it for the first time, and I'm just really hoping that people buy it. Please, please. It's a really great thing worth buying, okay? I'm trying to ultimately save you money, especially with the one on vibrators. Like, girl, I'm about to save you hundreds of dollars. That is 100% true, because I can't tell you how many people that I have helped to buy a vibrator that was actually good for them, instead of just like the Rose, which after talking to them for 5 seconds, I'm like, whoa, girl, the Rose is not for you. Based on everything you're telling me about your body, you're gonna hate that product, and I'm gonna tell you why. Whereas, maybe for someone else it is the perfect product, but just because it's your girlfriend's, like, she said that she loves it, okay, but let's remember that she's different than you, and also maybe she's probably the one in the group that's, like, had vibrators since she was, like, 18. You're not the same body, you're not the same person, so I'm going to help you find what you want and what you might like, and ultimately I'm going to help you save a lot of money. So you just got to pay me once, get your products, and live happily ever after. It's going to be great. So that's what's going on in my life. There's the update. That's why, been a little MIA. Was finishing up a bunch of papers, writing a ton. Man, it's so exhausting being in grad school. It's so much work. Oh, it's so adulty. And then I work on top of it. Oh, I'm tired. And lest we forget, I also am in Young Women's. So, I go to Young Women's once a week. I teach on Sunday. But you know what? You guys are busy too. Everybody's got busy lives. I don't have kids, and you probably do. So like, girl, what a hero. You are an amazing woman, and you should be so proud of yourself. Like, genuinely, this is me telling you, you sitting in your car or taking a shower or changing your kid's diaper, listening to this, like, be so for real. You are incredible. And if you don't tell yourself that in the mirror each and every day, what are you doing? What lies are you telling yourself? Because that's the truth. Like, that is what we should be chanting. Because you are a hero. You are incredible. You deserve joy, love, happiness, fulfillment. You deserve to be seen, to be heard. You are not too loud. You are not too shy or quiet, who deserves to be just like in the background wallflower. No. You have a voice that has value, and you are a person with value, and you don't have to earn that. You don't have to do anything for that. It exists in you purely because you exist. You are a blessing to every single person in your life. Everyone who meets you, who just is able to pass you on the street, it is a gift. And I want you to know that. Oof. My gosh, I'm getting emotional. Oh, my period's starting tomorrow. So like, you are incredible. You guys, you just don't, you don't say it enough to yourselves. You don't. And then I just see so many women in my office who, they don't know how to express their desires. They don't know how to really take in a sexual relationship because they don't know how to do it in just their day-to-day life. They don't know how to express what they want, what they like, and how to compliment themselves, and to think that they're good at things without, having it result in being good towards others. Like, no, like, I am a really fast reader, okay? How does that benefit anybody? It doesn't. But I really like it about myself. I can read something and comprehend it really well. And I love that about myself. And I love that God gave that gift to me. And I can recognize that that's a cool skill that I have. And it doesn't have to have some sort of, benefit to others. It's really awesome that most of the time our gifts and talents do bless others. Like, cherry on top that God made it that way. But you don't have to have something that is associated with helping other people in order for it to have value. Just something that makes you happy has value because it makes you happy. That's enough. Making you happy is all God wants. So how about we bask in it a little bit more? We give ourselves a lot more grace. And we find the beauty not only all around us, but in us and the way that we contribute to the beauty around us. There you go. That's my TED Talk today. Your inspirational moment for you. Oh, I feel that. Well, I've got like 10 more minutes. What should we chat about? You know what we're going to chat about? We are going to go to the notes section of my phone. It's been a minute since we did this. And wow, I have written a lot of notes in the last few months. So let's just go through a few, shall we? Number 1, I am susceptible to AI because I thought blue watermelon was real from Pinterest. Do you guys know what I'm talking about when I say this? Were you guys around at the time when Pinterest was everything? Pinterest was actually the first sparkings of the realness of my addiction. Actually, you know what? That's not even freaking true. Webkins for sure was the early signs, but Pinterest came shortly afterwards, Pinterest really was my life. I was pinning everything. The amount of categories I had as a type A girly. Oh my gosh, I had so many. I had no less than 100 different boards, for sure. And I knew my categories. My categories were so specific. Oh, and you know what? I tried to actually log into my old Pinterest recently, as in the last couple weeks, because, a side story, I was going to support my friends Josh and Lucy in their half marathon race, and I needed ideas for their posters because I wanted to make a bunch of posters because they were actually, how the course was laid out, they were going to pass me 4 times. We thought it was 8. We miscalculated. It was 4. But anyways, I wanted different signs. And, I Googled some and then I tried AI or whatever, but it just was not really giving. And so I was like, you know what has always given? It was Pinterest back in the day. So why don't we go back to our roots? So I logged into my old Pinterest with my gigglynikki@gmail.com. And God, it wasn't there. It wasn't there. All of my pin boards gone into the abyss. Where did they go? I really wanted to look at my old wedding pin boards because not only did I have just wedding, no, remember I'm type A. I had wedding flowers. I had wedding dresses, wedding rings, wedding vows, wedding vibes. Like, I had so many wedding things. And there was, I'm sure, a lot of chevron. And if I remember correctly, a lot of bright colors. Like, I did not want no stupid monochromatic, nude color. No, get that out of here. I want carnations in bright pink and yellow and orange. I want it bright. I want it poppin'. That's what I want. And honestly, to this day, I still want a slightly pink wedding dress, okay? Will I probably get one? I don't know. Who knows? But I still am in love with the idea of, like, a light pink wedding dress. The ones where it's a blush color. Oh my gosh, I love that. I mean, I love a traditional white as well, but there's so many things from my inner child that just have never died, nor do I want them to, because I do want my wedding to be quite unique and, I mean, maybe slightly more aesthetic than my tastes as a 16-year-old, but still I want the feeling to be the same. I want to feel as fun, spunky, and new as a chevron pattern made me feel. But what I really, really wanted to read back through was all of the random quotes. What were these called? Hold on. I'm going to look this up. It was basically a screen that was like just one solid color, and then it would say like a number. It would say, I think it said like random quote 38 or like, let's see, random quote Pinterest. Is this what it was called? No, it was a very specific type, and it had, like, a number, and then it would say something about, like, school. It was just something so relatable about school. Was it relatable quotes, maybe? Oh, hold on. Let me pause, and I'm going to find it. Oh, my gosh, I found it. It was called Teenager Posts. Oh, and relatable posts. I wasn't wrong. Relatable post, hashtag 2702, so slapping your best friend when you get excited about something. That is so relatable. That's so relatable. Teenager post. Okay, yes, I admit it. My heart skips a little when I even see your name. I wasn't pinning stuff like that. I was pinning the first stuff. Let's see. Teenager post. Looking at your best friend and saying, I'll do it if you do it, ... I feel like no. Let's see. Real friends don't get offended when you insult them. They smile and call you something even more offensive. I remember reading that. At like 15, 16, maybe younger, maybe 12. I know I read that. Saying to your friends, if we get caught, here's the story. Teenager post number 4,859. opens pack of gum. Bam! 1 million people are your best friend. Oh, that was just so relatable. That was just so relatable as a teen, and I had all of the most relatable things pinned. I mean, we've never truly evolved because I'm just doing this now. It's instead of teenager post, it's adult post, and it's just called a reel, and I'm just sending it to my friends now. This is what I was doing back in the day on Pinterest, but it's just taken on a slightly different form. But I loved Pinterest, man. Oh, man, I would just spend hours and hours and hours and hours pinning recipes of things I would never make. I had them categorized as desserts, as dinner, as appetizers. Girl, I hate cooking. Like, when was I ever in the kitchen to bake anything other than no-bake cookies? And that stands true today. I mean, I am going to be 28 years old next month. Actually, less than a month now. No, what am I doing? I can't do math. Slightly more than a month. I am going to be 28 years old, and in that time, I have never once grown to love a whisk and a bowl and just, like, the feeling of satisfaction that you get when you make up a meal. Like, no, that's not for me. I don't enjoy cooking. I don't enjoy baking. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And so, you know, it's maybe a good thing that I wasn't able to log back into my Pinterest, because all I would have is just thousands of recipes that even to this day I'm still never going to make. Like, never once will I make that. Whatever that amazing meal is. I don't want to go to the grocery store to get those items and then read the recipe and then make the meal. That's not joyful to me. I need to find someone in my life that finds that joyful. When they say opposites attract, that's what they're talking about. That's what they mean. And boy, am I attracted to someone who's like, oh, I just, like, love to cook. Oh my gosh, yes, I'll have your babies. If that means that I don't have to cook. And please be a runner. Be someone that, like, is healthy, because I am very adaptable to my environment. We have, like, really gotten on a tangent here. But I am very attracted to a certain type of guy, okay? Which I think we've talked about this before. Maybe we haven't. Maybe it's because I'm about to be on my period, like, tomorrow, I think. So, you know, my body is reminding me of, you know, once again, we failed, we didn't do it, we did not get pregnant. So we must start again on the search for a man. And so now it's just, like, in my mind of, like, okay, listen, girl, we've got 30 more days, try again. That's what my body biologically is telling me. It's like, here's the qualities we're looking for, okay? We are looking for a nerd starting off, okay? I want him to just be a bit nerdy. I like a guy who's nerdy. I like him to be really adorably smart. Just like the, you know, computers and, like, a Lego set excite him. That to me is so cute. Like, I am very attracted to that. I love it, you know, if some guy likes to fiddle with electronics. Yeah, adorable. Because also to me, you know, like, back in, you know, like, the olden days, right? Like, you would want someone that was just a stockier build and whatever, because they could, like, work on a farm and they can, like, provide for the family, you know, blah, blah, blah. To me, being a nerd in 2025 is equivalent to that. Like, you look like you're someone that knows how to work a computer and, like, AI, and I'm gonna need that in my life. I'm gonna need someone just very, very up to date on the world of AI around me, because I won't be. That's not gonna be my job. I don't want it. I do not subscribe to, you know, the traditional gender roles, but in some aspects, sure I do. In the sense that I'm gonna want you to fix my phone and computer, okay? So I do like them to be nerdy. And I like it kind of when there's something that's just a little bit too smart for me. that they have to then explain to me, and they really need to be able to explain it in a way that I can understand. Like, that's attractive to me. If you can't explain it and, like, dumb that down for me, like, I don't think our communication's really gonna work. I work with enough couples. I've seen a lot of different communication. I mean, my entire career is relationships, so I am quite picky about what I'm looking for at this point in my life. I'm really wanting someone that I can have a great friendship, sexual relationship, partnership with. Okay, we are not settling for something. If I saw this reel the other day where it was this woman, and she was like, I'm not signing up for a group project unless I really want the member that I'm going to be adding to my group, unless what am I trying to say? Unless they have something, like, super valuable to offer. Like, I would much rather work solo. This is just, like, academically. Like, do not freaking put me in a group for a group project. Gross. No, I can do it on my own. I will outsource. I will get help, whatever. But if you're telling me that I have the choice between working by myself or signing up for a group project of, like, how to do life, yeah, I'm gonna be real picky about who my partner is, because I want someone that I can create something with that I could not do on my own. And I live a pretty fantastic life as a single person. It's full of a lot of freedom. It's full of a lot of amazing things. So if I'm going to trade that in, we best be trading it in for an upgrade, babe. Like, we best be trading it in for the type of connection and intimacy that I cannot experience as a single person, and the type of life that I am looking for. We are not trading it in for some just loser or just someone that's just all right. No, I want someone spectacular, because they do exist. If there is anything that I have just had more hope for and hope in the last, like, year, it is that really, really great men exist. Which is funny, because so much of what I read about and what I research and what I see is, like, the effects of terrible men, and, like, how frustrating it is that there are such awful men, and, like, the patriarchy, and, like, how it's just really destroyed women in a lot of ways. But I love the duality that at the same time that I am more and more awakened to the realities of bad men and, like, what they are capable of, what they do, their impact they have, I also see that it really isn't all just sorrow and sad and, like, terrible men. Like, there are some genuinely incredible, stellar, fantastic, out of this world, good guys that exist. And they're not all taken. None of them seem to be interested in me personally, but they do exist. And even just their existence gives me a lot of hope. And now if we can just, help them slightly to make it their priority and their, problem that there are other bad men, they need to be able to speak up more, so that it's not just women against bad men and they're, like, just being good men that exist, but instead it's being women and good men coming together to help combat the problem of bad men. That's how we'll actually solve that problem. But all of this to say that there are some really great human beings that are kind and sensitive and smart and really caring, and they're not stupid. Like, they genuinely try to understand the perspective of a woman and, like, what we go through, and they're very in tune with the fact that they don't get it, and they want to understand to a certain level that they can, and then even at that level they express and get that they still know that they can't understand the full picture. they're just humble in that. Oh, that is the kind of guy I'm looking for. And I do believe that they exist because I've met them. I really have. And a lot of my friends are married to these types of guys. And my friends that are, I am so, so happy for them because that's who they deserve. That is who we all deserve, is guys who are just good, who are good to their core. They are not perfect people because neither are we. That's just stupid. But you don't have to, make excuses for their behavior. They don't try and justify their behavior. They are a good person trying to do better, and you are a good person trying to do better, and you come together and you see the good in each other, and you don't take advantage of the other person. I think to me that's one of the greatest indicators of a good person is, and what like charity is, what true kindness is not taking someone else's weakness and using it against them. And also, in that same vein, not taking someone's goodness and using it against them. Because you can do both. You can take someone's kindness, their ability to give, their sweetness, anything like that. Like, you can take that and you can take advantage of it. And then you can also take their faults as a person and use those against them as well in a manipulative way. And that is how men who are not good typically gain their power over another, is they take the weaknesses and also the strengths of someone and they use them against them. And that is cruel, and that is not nice, and that is the worst thing that you can do to another human being. Whereas to me, I feel like one of the best things that you can do is to make someone feel seen. And the way that you do that is to see them and to not have another, agenda, but just you see someone, you care about them, you take the goodness in you and you share it with them because you see their worth, you see their value. We're going back to that. And I just feel like there are so many guys that I have met, especially in my singlehood in the last decade, that are so incredible at that. They're great. And yes, I wish that a lot of them were into me in the way that I was into them. And I can't tell you the amount of times that I have been friend zoned. Because I am very open and honest. Like, when I see a good guy, why would I not, tell him, hey, you're a good guy, and, I like you. Would you be interested in me? And I don't take it offensively when they friend zone me, and that's another, I feel like a topic for another day. I think women, you know what? No, it's a topic for today. We're just going to chat about it. Women, I think, so often tie up their value into a man's opinion of them. And we've done that for a lot of very understandable reasons. I mean, hello, the world that we live in teaches us from a very young age through explicit messaging and all, verbal things and things that are unsaid but seen, that our value as women is ultimately, in a lot of ways, tied up to our sexuality, and it's tied into how we are able to be used to benefit others, specifically men. Our kindness and our sweetness is attractive to men, and to placate them, to make them feel like a big, strong man. This is kind of the negative narrative that's been for quite a while. And it's something that we're taught, is that you don't want to be too loud because then that's unattractive, and you don't want to, but don't be too quiet because, you need to put yourself out there and be super sexy and draw attention. So we're just fed these super opposing messages, but all of it has the same overarching message, which is your value is not determined by you, it's determined by others. It's determined by a man, typically. And we as other women then place value and judgment on each other when we see oh, she gets all the guys, you know? And so then we put that as like, well, she's such a slut. She's so bad, blah, blah, blah. Or like, oh, that poor thing. She just like can't get a man. Like, look at her. If she dressed better, if she did this, blah, blah, blah. We put this judgment. But again, even as women, we fall into that mindset of it being the male gaze. This, worth being tied to a result of a man liking you or not. So when you're in a situation where you like someone, wow, this is a great guy, I want to tell him and I'm attracted to him, and then he turns you down and he says, no, I'm not interested. A lot of women take that so personally because they just put their entire worth to them out on the line and it was rejected. And that just is so hard, especially as a woman, when we're trained that we shouldn't be the ones to speak up. We should make them come to us, right? So you've already, in that scenario, gone against the social norm. You've put yourself out there in the most vulnerable way that you possibly can to say that you like someone before they tell you. And that is so hard when that comes back of, no, I don't want what you're offering, right? But for me, I view it much differently. And I wouldn't say that I've always viewed it this way, but I think there's a part of me that has. But I've had a lot of practice now in this, so it really, genuinely does not hurt me like on a deep level when someone friend zones me, because I think of it very similarly to food because that to me makes sense, and sexuality and food are, you can make a lot of comparisons between the two. But there are a lot of foods that I just don't like. Okay, I really hate tiramisu. And that's not just because of the coffee thing. Like, no, I don't like the smell of coffee. I don't like the taste of it. I really don't like tiramisu. It is just not for me. So if someone offered me just the most amazing, beautiful, incredible tiramisu, and I would look at it and say, oh my God, thank you so much, but actually, I don't really like tiramisu. Like, that's not me saying, you're a terrible cook. Like, that looks disgusting. You are just, wow, you should get out of the kitchen and never get in there again. Like, no, that's not what I'm saying, right? And I would explain, like, no, like, I'm just not into tiramisu. That's just not my thing. Or, like, okay, let's take it with a vegetarian, right? Like, you could make the most incredible steak ever, and then you bring it to them, and they're like, oh, sorry, I'm vegetarian. And you go, oh, shoot, sorry, I forgot. Or I didn't know that. Oh, darn it. I mean, bummer. That stinks, right? That, like, what you made, either the tiramisu or the, steak, like, maybe it's just a preference thing, or maybe it's, like, a specific, lifestyle that they have is not conducive for what you're offering. But either way, we don't take as much offense to that, right? Because, like, oh, yeah, no, they just don't like it, right? Like, it doesn't mean that I'm a terrible cook and that I made something that was disgusting. Like, no, it's just not for them. It's just not something that they like, in the same way that you don't like things. It doesn't make them bad, and it doesn't mean that other people won't enjoy them. It's just not their preference, right? So to me, I very much view me as a person, like, putting myself out there, like, hey, I like you, I'm interested, is there any chance that you like what I'm offering? And when they say no, I don't link that to my personal worth, because it's not. I think of it in the same way that, like, well, maybe they're just, like, not into tiramisu. Maybe they're just a vegetarian. Like, maybe they're just not, like, me being religious. I don't have to go and now think, oh my gosh, like, should I change who I am and blah, blah, blah. No. Like, maybe that's just not something that they want. Maybe that's just not the lifestyle they're looking for. I don't necessarily, for me personally, need someone to be a member of my religion. In fact, most of the guys that I've dated in the last, 6 years have not been members of my religion at all. and I tend to be more attracted to people who aren't of my religion. But the fact that I'm attracted to them doesn't necessarily mean that they would, like, also be okay and attracted to the fact that, like, who I am religiously is a big, huge part of me, you know? Just in the same way that I am attracted to the perspective that they bring that a lot of times is more spiritual than religious. All of this I am telling you because... Why am I telling you this? Where did we start? Because I just feel like women, we tie our worth to what other people think about us, especially what a man thinks about us. And especially when it's a really good guy, when it's a really great guy, and you're a great person, and so you're like, yeah, this is going to be great. And then you put yourself out there, and then they turn you down. That can be so hurtful, but I don't feel like it really needs to be. The other caveat with this, okay, because this is a two-ended conversation. I think, number one, your internal worth should not be tied to anyone. But for me, it's going to be myself and God. But if you are not someone that is very religious, I would say ground it in who you are and, like, the closest people who genuinely care about you in your life. Maybe that's, you know, your closest friends, your family, but I wouldn't extend it even too far because that's a lot of opinions, you know? You should be comfortable with who you are and know that you could make something amazing. Someone could offer me the most incredible raisin cookie. Those stupid oatmeal raisin cookies. I hate raisins. I hate them. So it could be the most amazing cookie. I just really don't want it. I'm sorry. I don't want that. And I would just hate to think that some baker thinks, well, let's shut down the bake shop because, like, we're not worth anything. We have a terrible recipe. Like, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm one person. And it's just my opinion. It's just his opinion. It's just one person. Like, girl, you are so much more than that. I often, because, you know me, I'm an analogy person. I just think, you know, might as well just shoot my shot. Like, so what if I missed? You know how many people shoot shots in a game of basketball and they miss? All the freaking time, okay? But the more that you shoot, the more chances that you have of maybe something getting in there. And at least then you're actively participating in the game. Now, me personally, I hate playing the game that we often play in the dating world, especially in 2025, where we get too far ahead of ourselves. And this is where I'm going to talk about that second piece, okay? So yes, I think our value, we need to hold that. It needs to be our own, and that is unchangeable. It is irregardless of anyone else's opinions, especially a man's. You have worth. You are attractive. You are beautiful. You are wanted. You are gonna, you know, you have things to offer the world. Just because he didn't want it doesn't mean that all of those things go away. Like, no, it's just one person's opinion. Yes, you wanted him to want it, but you have no control over that. So you have control over how you react and in the understanding of your personal worth. Okay? Second part, we play too long, I think, before we take the shot. We dribble so long. If we're going to that basketball analogy, we do it so long. Like, if we're gonna go with the baking, like, instead of just, like, baking one cookie, taking it out of the oven, and then offering it when it's, like, hot, fresh, like, boom, you know, like, and then if they turn it down, you're like, okay, sweet, I'll go see if somebody else wants it. No, instead, we plan out, like, you know what, he's probably gonna love this cookie, so I might as well, like, bake all of the cookies for our wedding right now, and then offer all of those things to him right now. And I think we do this way too often in our heads. Okay, women, I know you can relate to this, where you really like a guy, right? You start hanging out. Oh my gosh, you start texting, and you're texting pretty frequently. You're hanging out pretty often. You have the same friends. Like, you start, like, okay, ooh. After, you know, a couple weeks, you're like, okay, no, for sure, I have a crush. I have a crush on this guy, and I really like him, and oh my gosh, I really want him to like me. And so then you start reading into everything. You're like, oh my gosh, he is flirting with me, he's doing this, oh, he like slightly brushed my arm the other day, and like I think that means something. And then you start like setting up scenarios, and then you start daydreaming, and you just like love to live in your head. I say this as someone who loves to live in their head. And you just make up an entire life with this person. Oh my gosh, how he's gonna ask me to be his girlfriend, and how he's gonna ask me, and he's gonna lean in, and he's gonna kiss me, and blah, 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 blah. And then we're gonna like get married, and then like, oh my gosh, where are we gonna get married? And how's our families gonna like blend together? Like, girl, you've known him 2 weeks. Back up. I don't think what you're realizing is the fact that you let him move into the penthouse in your mind rent-free? Rent-free, babe? No, that's prime real estate. You don't let anybody move in there unless they put down a down payment, okay? You can let them come in, look around maybe, but do not let them live there. They cannot live there. They're a squatter. And they need to pay rent to be in your head. And what I mean by that is you need actual like substance verbalized by the man that has taken up residence in your mind. You need something solid. You need real money. You need actual tangible facts before you let him move into your mind and just like take up all of the space there and all of your time and all of your energy. And I think that is where the women go wrong a lot of the times, is because if we're doing basketball, they're just going around the court dribbling to death. Babe, just shoot. Like, either it's gonna make it or it's not, but this isn't fun. And that's where, like, everyone's like, I don't want to play the game. And that's what I mean when I say I'm not here to play the game. Because that's not an actual game. If that was a sports game, how effing boring. If you went to a basketball game and all they did the whole frickin' time was dribble and then, like, do the thing where they hold it on the side with their, like, elbows out and they're, like, blocking and they're trying to find someone to toss to. You know what I mean? Like, just toss the frickin' ball. Like, do something. That's how I feel when it comes to women who just live in their heads and they let him just, they put in furniture for the little house that he's gonna live in their mind. And so then when he finally rejects them, it is devastating because, like, you created an entire life in your mind. You created this whole beautiful place for him to live. How dare he not want it? And I think you gave that away really quickly, girl. You gave away that headspace rent-free way too fast, okay? Again, you deserve someone who, if they're going to be in your head all day, they need to be worth being in there. You need something tangible in real life to back that up. Because as much as fantasy is fun, it's way less fun when it actually comes to someone that you have feelings for and you want them to have feelings back for you. And I get it. It's scary to be rejected, especially if this, if you're not used to rejection. That's really scary. That's really intimidating to put yourself out there. But I think it becomes a lot less scary when you know that a rejection isn't a reflection of you. It doesn't say something about you. It says something about you and that person. That person, sure, was not interested in being romantically attracted to you and, like, creating a romantic connection. But if it's someone that you've been texting with and you hang out with and stuff, you should take something from that. They're like, here is a person of the opposite sex. They think you're cool. They think you're great. Because men do not do things out of obligation. They don't just placate. They're not just hanging out with you because they, like, feel bad for you, or I don't know, they just, like, have nothing better going on. Women do that. Men don't do that. Men do not do that. If they did not want to spend time with you, babe, they wouldn't. But we too often link that with okay, yeah, he wouldn't be spending time with me unless he liked me sexually, unless he was like into me. And that's not true either. He can like you as a person. He can think you're entertaining and fun and like a good time and just like a good friendship. And men, again, male loneliness is a very real thing. Like, they want to connect just as much as women connect, and it's easier for women to connect with other women and just for women to connect with people in general. So yeah, maybe you have a magnetic personality, and you're fun to be around. And maybe he's been, in some ways, taking advantage of you and the fact that he probably knows that you like him, because he knows that the second like that's probably going to hurt you, and then it's going to mess with your friendship and blah blah blah, and he doesn't want that. So then he's probably avoiding the whole thing, which is why you end up having to address the conversation way too far in, like a few months in, and now by that time you've planned the wedding, and so that's why it hurts. But let's just stop that. Let's stop that, okay? 3 weeks. I really think 3 weeks is a great point. If you have consistently been texting someone for 3 weeks and they have been consistently texting you back, that's enough time for someone's schedule to fluctuate enough that they've had to like go out of their way from their normal schedule to like make an effort to text you, to if they've consistently hung out with you, not just like 3 times, but no, like I would say quite a few times, hung out with you, made time, you've had fun, you feel like you can be yourself around that person, you start feeling like, okay, yep, in my head, they're moving in. I'm thinking about them a lot more often. I'm kind of fantasizing about this life that we could create together, because it could be beautiful. When you start getting to that point, that's when you shoot. That's when you shoot your shot, and you just say it, because you have nothing to lose, because what is there to lose? Not your worth. Your worth isn't there to lose. No, it's just you taking a chance. Hey, do you want what I have? Do you want my cookie? Do you want my steak? Do you want what I have to offer? No? Okay, cool. Well, then I'm no longer going to like let you live in my head rent free. We can still be friends. I really do think men and women can have, single men and women can have like platonic relationships, and I do believe that because I'm in a lot of them. I'm in a lot of them with men where, yeah, I've like put myself out there and then was rejected, and I was like, you know what, thank you, because now I can work with all of the information. I now have a clear picture, because before I didn't have the clear picture. I had the picture I painted that I wanted, but that's not reality. And we live too long in the fantasy, only looking at the picture we want, and which is totally understandable, but it's not real. And real and tangible is more valuable than anything else, okay? You want something that is real. And in those moments, you can also see if someone else has been taking advantage of you. Because if you put yourself out there, hey, I'm interested in you, and they say they're not, and you kick them out pretty much immediately, evict them from your head of like, okay, well then I'm no longer going to like be doing cute girlfriendy things for you, because I'm not your girlfriend and you don't want me to be. I can still be your friend, but I'm not doing these cutesy things for my girlfriends. Like, no, I was doing it for you because I like you. And if you see that, wow, this person really took advantage of the fact that I clearly liked them, and they were cruel in their rejection of you and took serious advantage of the fact that you liked them, then, girl, that's not someone you do want to be friends with, let alone be in a relationship with, because that's someone who would manipulate you for the rest of your life into doing things for them, because that's a very common pattern that women find themselves in. And it's natural, it's normal, but it's not healthy, okay? So if there is any message that I can get across here, it's that good men do exist. They are fantastic, and they make our world a better place. They really do. They bring me so much hope for the world and for the safety of women, that could be so much better if these good men made it their mission and their problem to see the issue of bad men. But whatever, that's a different conversation. But there are these really good men, but just because these really good men, if you're single, like, if they don't want you, that's not telling a bigger story about who you are. Like, it could just truly be as simple as they're just not interested in the same way that you're not interested in food you don't like. You, I'm sure, know some really great guys that you're just not sexually attracted to. Like, they're just not for you. Wouldn't that be the same for them? That there's really great women out there that are just not for them? Don't take it personally. And if you are in a situationship, you know, a little like flirty thing, and you're like, oh, I have a crush on them. It's so weird having, it's what an experience having a crush as like a grown woman. Yeah, that's the phase of life I'm in. It's like, oh my gosh, I have a crush. And I'm like 28. It is different. And then I'm like telling my friends who are also 28 with 4 kids, I have a crush. But don't play that game too long. Don't let them move in. Don't just dribble endlessly. Like, just shoot your shot, girl. You don't have nothing to lose because your value isn't tied up in whether you make the basket, whether it hits, whatever. It's not tied into that. Imagine if every single basketball player, every single time that they took a shot, if it missed, they were like fired on the spot. There would never be sports. Like, if every single toss of a football had to be caught, and if it wasn't, the quarterback was fired. Like, it wouldn't exist, right? But we don't go to these events to, yes, we hope for and we want like those results in the same way that we want it to get in. We want to shoot and someone say, yes, I like you back. That's the goal. But just because you shoot and sometimes you miss epically, like, man, I have shot and like I have just epically airballed. Well, okay. Let's run that back. It's not that big of a deal. Like, I'm here to have fun. I'm here to experience life. I'm here to play the game. Like, but I'm here to actually play the game. And that's the thing that we're not doing, is we're just doing this stupid thing of just not actually making any moves. And yes, boy, do I wish men would make the moves. But again, it's, if they're not interested in you and you're like doing all these girlfriendy things for them, I can see where they get complacent of like, well, this is nice, and I know the second I friend zone her, this is probably going to stop, because it should stop. Do not be doing girlfriend things for someone who does not want you as their girlfriend. Oh my gosh, do not do that, girl. You have some self-respect. No, if, like, draw that boundary. Yeah, they can get quite complacent in that. So don't let them. Like, no, 3 weeks in, you like someone? Great. Let them know. And if they don't like you back, you don't have to stop the friendship. If it's a genuine friendship, then let it be something great that can compel you towards something different. Get a different perspective. Like, having a male perspective, I think, is so beneficial if it's coming from a good man. You know, we need to be more accepting of good men and less accepting of, so many things, but especially our worth being tied up in the acceptance of a good man, because it shouldn't be attached to that. It just really shouldn't. And also, again, if you think he's a really good man and he's hanging out with you, well, then you're pretty great. Like, because guys wouldn't just do that. They wouldn't. They don't. Woof. Okay, wow. That was quite a tangent. You know what? We're just gonna make this like a 2-hour-long episode. Because it's been a minute since I've recorded. So I think that that's what you guys deserve. Yeah? Yeah. I know. Okay. Remember when I was talking about blue watermelon? Wasn't that where we started with this, with Pinterest? Yeah, so back on Pinterest, there was at one point circulating that there were different types of watermelon all over the world, and like it was literally just a picture of a sliced watermelon, but someone had changed the color red to the color blue. And it said that this watermelon, this was found in, like, Taiwan. And when you eat it, it makes everything sweet sour. And I remember printing that out and showing it to my father. And being like, Dad, look how cool this is. Isn't this amazing? Wow, can you believe this? And he laughed. And I remember being like, oh, he doesn't get it. He's, like, never been to Taiwan. Oh my gosh. Honestly, kudos to my dad for, like, not crushing me. And being like, you stupid idiot. Like, this is just a regular watermelon that was colored blue. Because, of course, they had other ones. One was, like, a purple one. And it said, this one's found in this place. And when you eat it, it tastes like this. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's so many different types of watermelon. That's crazy. That's crazy. And it was, like, a neon blue, okay? This was not. And so I would be susceptible to AI 100% because I used to think for sure that blue watermelon was real. Okay. Oh, you know what? This ties in so well with what I just said before. This was wisdom from my friend Nawal, who I'm actually going to have on the pod soon. Nawal, I freaking love you. Oh, you're so cool, dude. Okay, I was talking to Nawal specifically about the entire, what was it? Soapbox that I was just on just now. The TED Talk I just gave about, like, good men and, like, being friend-zoned and blah, 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 blah. So we were talking about being friend-zoned, and she said that you're a master class. And she said, why do people not take master classes? It's not because they're not helpful and useful. Like, no, if you are going to take a master class, and then you are committing to something serious. Like, you are committing to a weekly thing. This is something that will make you better. But someone who isn't ready for a master class, for that level of commitment, then, yeah, they're not going to want to take a master class. Like, they're not going to sign up for that because they don't want it. And so, anyways, we were discussing how, like, we ourselves, we're at this stage in life, like, when someone, if we were in a relationship with someone, that's what they'd be signing up for. Like, this isn't some passive thing that I'm offering you. Like, this is a real adult relationship that I'm offering. And so it does make sense that, yeah, it doesn't mean that your class, if you're a master class, that it's not worth taking and that it wouldn't be amazing and you wouldn't grow. Like, you would do all of those things and it is incredible. But if someone is really just genuinely not in that place of life and doesn't want that, you can't make them want it, So, wisdom from the wall. There you go. Next up we have a quote. If you want something, pretend you're the kind of person that's not scared of it. Oh, love that. Just because they slice the bread thicker doesn't mean it stacks any higher. Oh my gosh. That is so good. That's such a good quote. Just because they slashed, you could have sliced the bread thicker doesn't mean it doesn't stack any higher. That was a reel that I watched of this woman saying, someone getting something more than you and seeming to have it all or whatever. Just because they slice that bread thicker doesn't mean it stacks any higher. Oh, love that. Things I want to start saying. Have the day you deserve. Yeah, that would be great. Have the day you deserve. Oh, I hope you find the peace you pretend to have. I don't take criticism from people I wouldn't go to for advice. Wow. I am just clearly in a certain type of mood right now. Okay, let's see. Did Nate and Sarah Eats break up? 'Cause where is Sarah? Oh my gosh, yes. Okay, so there's this couple that I follow on Instagram Reels. Their tag is called, like, Nate and Sarah Eats, and they always do, like, $5 deal at McDonald's, $3 deal at Popeyes, blah, 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 blah. And I don't know why I even follow them, because I have never one time gone to one of their deals. But I don't know, I follow them. But lately, in the last like 2 months or something, Nate has been filming alone because they film in the car and they like show you the food to the camera, and then like that's how they always start their videos, like $3 blah 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 from this place, and it's all about food deals and stuff that are going on. But did they break up? Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Because she has not been in those videos and there is nothing addressing it. I did go back to see, like, have they, posted one of those screenshots of a notes app, where it's like, hey, we're just taking some time. We did break up. Please respect us at this time. Like, give us our space. But no, none of that. Nothing. She's just not there anymore. So obviously I think they broke up, which also brings up the grander thing of like couples accounts. Oh man, couples in TikTok and Instagram accounts, that has got to be so rough when you break up, because like who takes over the account? And especially if you're like them, you're making tons of money from this. This is a business. I really hope you signed something legally binding, because that's devastating. Okay. Oh, this is another saying. This one's from my British friend Josh. He said, well, that's about as useful as a chocolate teapot. I need to be using this more often. That's about as useful as a chocolate teapot. I love that. Okay, this next one. We always hear, if he wanted to, he will. But I would like to push for, if you knew your worth, you wouldn't. Ah! Oh my gosh, I forgot I wrote that. Oh my gosh, can I trademark that right now? Literally me reading my own words back, being like, that's fire. Okay, but seriously though, when did I come up with this? If he wanted to, he will. If you knew your worth, you wouldn't. When it comes to picking bad guys who don't put in the effort, instead of once again putting the responsibility on men, let's take that narrative back. Oh my gosh. Wow. Wow. I clearly forgot I wrote that. This really fits with my entire episode right now. If you wanted to, you will. Yes, I agree with myself with what I said in the past. I can't believe I said this. Is so good. I should publish that. That's going on. That is going on a t-shirt. I'm going to have, if he wanted to, he will, crossed out. I'm going to cross that out, but you can like still read it, but it'll have a line through it. And then underneath it'll say, if you knew your worth, you wouldn't. Oh my gosh. Because yes, again, even in that saying, if he wanted to, he will. It's us waiting around for him to show us his interest and to be nice to us and to show us he cares and to show us. No, if you knew your worth, you wouldn't give your time, your energy, your effort, your kindness to someone who is going to use it to their advantage and not give anything in return. Girl, stop doing that. Wow. Okay, new t-shirt design. I'm going to put that. I have an entire notes app just for t-shirt designs. That one will be coming out. I'm probably going to do that for Christmas. I'm going to ask Chichil to make that for me. I'm going to make that into a sticker. And please, nobody steal that, okay? Don't steal it. Let me have that. That was my own words, okay? I am for sure doing that. I love that. Okay. If you can't... Wow, why did I just write down all these sayings? Normally I have just like random thoughts, but apparently I was in a sayings mood. If you can't handle no, then you're not ready to hear yes. Period. Absolutely, period. If you can't handle no, then you're not ready to hear yes. I think that was a reel about a mom saying that to like their child, that they were like really, really upset about something, and she was saying that they need to be able to control themselves and their temper when they hear a no in order for them to be mature enough to hear a yes. So, really like that. Are you fluent in any other languages? Yeah, mumbo jumbo. I speak that a lot. That is also from my friend Josh. Wow, he made it on here twice. It's a big deal to make my phone, like, for the quote section. Oh my gosh. I think Ravi currently sets the record. I think Ravi has been on here like 4 or 5 times. But are you fluent in any other languages? Yeah, mumbo jumbo. I'm going to start saying that when someone asks me. Okay, once it's out of my mouth, it tastes pretty good. Guess the context. Okay, the context of that. You know what? No, I think that should just go on a t-shirt as well. Once it's out of my mouth, it tastes pretty good. And underneath, the Virgin Sex Educator. No, the context of this one was a mint. You know the Lifesaver mints from Costco? Apparently they're disgusting to Australians. I don't know what it is, but I love them. Obviously, tons of Americans love them. And it's the green ones, too. Not even the blue ones. It's the green, like the spearmint Lifesavers. Delicious. I had Jatil and Mickey bring some for me from the U.S., and then I gave them to some of my Australian friends, and that was something that they said was, once it's out of my mouth, it tastes pretty good. Okay, let's see. Oh, this one, Rose, this is for you. I know Rose listens to my podcast. Rose was saying that her brother, I don't know if I should name drop him. I don't know if I have his permission, but Rose's brother, was parking in the car park, and it was an empty car park. Guys, once again, I've done it. I did the Australian thing. It was a parking lot. Car park. Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, I do have an actually very large listener count now of Australians, so, and from England as well. Actually, I'm doing great across the sea, the ocean, across the pond, I guess you could say. But okay, her brother had parked in an empty parking lot, and apparently there was another person that came, and the person parked right next to his car, and he was, like, really up in arms about that, because he was like, why would you park right next to the other vehicle when there are nothing but empty spaces around? And you know what? He had some valid points, because I feel the same way. You know, what are you doing sitting next to me when we're at, like, a theater or something? If it's not assigned seats, right? Like, and I go sit down at a concert, theater, whatever. What are you doing sitting next to me when there's literally in front of me an entire empty row? Like, why did you pick the seat right next to mine? Like, no, I think we do need to bring back personal bubbles. All right, we need to make them a little bit more prevalent in today's day and age. All right, yeah, back up. Give me my space. So that one was funny. Can we believe I was never a theater kid? I get that a lot. I get the question, did you do theater? A lot. And no. Well, okay, that's actually not true. I did do theater. I did community theater when I was younger. But we all did back then. You know, like, we were all a part of this. My brother was the lead in the play Honk. He played the ugly duckling. Because my brother actually is a really great singer. He was in, my older brother, Robbie, he was in show choir. And you guys have met Robbie. It's one of my most listened to episodes, is my brother from the same mother. That's so funny. This is the brother I'm referring to. The father of my nephew. Oh, the love of my life. He's so cute. Him and my niece. Oh, I miss them so much. Anyways, Robbie is a really good singer, piano player. He's the ward organist, like, he's very musical. And so, of course, we all were signed up for the play. And I played, I think a little duckling or something. I don't remember what I played in that one. But I do remember when I was the magic carpet in Aladdin. I did do that. And I did a back handspring and some cartwheels. And I'm sure you're wondering, tip of your tongue is the question, Nikki, how did you play the magic carpet? Like, did they sit on you when they sung, not Part of Your World, that's Ariel. I can show you the world, okay. Is that what it's called? I can show you the world. A whole new world. That's what it is. A whole new world. Okay, yeah. Wow, I cannot believe I'm about to keep that in right now. But I'm too lazy to edit this because this is 2 hours and my goal here was just to talk and produce something and get it out because I felt bad that so many people have been like, Nikki, there's been no episode. And then you want to know what my response has been? Girl, how many episodes of my backlog have you not listened to? I mean, come on. Two can play this game. Okay, yes, I have not been producing new episodes, but the chances that there are episodes you have not yet listened to are high. And honestly, some of my earlier stuff is some of the funniest stuff I've ever produced. Like, here we are 2 years in. I still go back and I'm like, I think it's, what is it? Like the Cheetah Girls one or the one about the plane crash. Like, that's some of my best material. Truly. Even my first episode, it's kind of fun just to see where we all began, you know? But some of my interviews that I've done, I recently listened back to my one with my friend Kira about divorce because I was getting a clip for social media. And I was like, this is a great episode. And my one with, oh gosh. Oh my goodness. There's so many that are in my head right now. But my friend Kennedy, flight attendant, that one's great. Freaking Gabby Beckford, Forbes 30 under 30. Hello. Did an interview with her. And the second part of that episode is the story of when Sierra and I almost died in Switzerland because we made a really stupid decision. Well, us and Chris. And we were saved by the hottest Coast Guardian men in Switzerland. Yeah, great episodes, okay? So go listen to those, okay? There's so many great episodes. Go listen to them. Also, go rate and review. Please. Please rate and review. But yeah, no, besides, the magic carpet. That's what we were talking about. Oh, the magic carpet. So I wore a carpet costume. Maybe I can find the picture. I think I have one with my friend Maddie who passed away. I think I have it still on my phone, of me in my carpet costume, maybe. Basically, yeah, they took like a big, giant rug and poked holes through the corners so my feet could go through and my arms could go through, but like when I extended starfish style, it was a carpet, you know, and obviously there was a hole for my head. And then they created like this cool, like wavy bench that was the same fabric as me. So I sat on the front of this little bench that had wheels, and Aladdin and Jasmine sat on the back and sang while I drove. That's how I was the magic carpet during that number. Is I sat on the front and I drove us around the stage in my carpet costume as they kissed behind me. And then during the song with the genie, You Ain't Never Had a Friend Like Me, yeah, that's when I pulled out my gymnastics skills, because lest we forget, I was a competitive gymnast. Once upon a time. I wasn't a theater kid, I was in sports. All right. I had my competitions on the weekends. We were driving. I had leotards and chalk and grips. I had knee braces and ankle braces and finger wrist braces. I was a wrecked 9-year-old. I had a lot of physical problems, which is why I ended up quitting. But I did love gymnastics. And then I ended up coaching competitive gymnastics when I was older. So, in case you didn't know, there's some more lore for you. I loved coaching gymnastics. Absolutely loved it. My future kids will be in gymnastics one day. Mark my words. Ivana. Hey, girl. I'm about to shout you out. Okay, I was in a conversation with Josh and Ivana, and we were just chit-chatting about, like, our youth. And Ivana says, I was below 18. I was dizzy. And I have never heard that before, but, like, the way that she said it, of just, like, that's a fact. Like, oh, my gosh, girl, I was 16. I was dizzy. I was dizzy back then. Like, I'm not accountable for anything I did. Like, I was dizzy. Can we all collectively start saying that? Because that's amazing. Yeah, if it happened below the age of 18, all you gotta say is like, listen, please keep in mind this story happened when I was 14 and I was dizzy back then. Okay? I was not thinking straight. I love that. Okay, let's see. Oh my gosh, you know what we're gonna do to round out this episode? Forever ago, I was bitching about the Oxford year and about how stupid it is. Sorry for swearing. I'm sorry, Mom. But anyways, I was talking about the Oxford year and just how dumb this girl's like from America and like goes to Oxford and everyone's like so enchanted by her being American, but also then she goes to this bar and this guy's like so mean about the fact that she's American because they've like literally never had an American there before ever, and so he's just really rude and insensitive about the fact that she's American and like very xenophobic. And I reached out to my friend Jess, who they are from England, okay, and they also worked for Oxford. I have their interview as well on this podcast, okay? And I wanted to know their opinion of the Oxford year, being someone who worked at Oxford. And they sent me an audio message back, and I asked if I could use it as a recording on the pod. So I think that's where we'll end, is just with Jess's recording and opinions on the Oxford year, because it was genuinely so funny. It's so great. And if you've seen the movie, I think it makes it even better. If not, go listen to the episode where I talk about the Oxford year and then listen to this last part, because I think it's just really gonna, it's gonna hit, it's gonna satisfy, because you're gonna get not only my opinion, but also a true British person's opinion. Oh, okay, here we go. Let's listen to that. I'll say my goodbyes now, and I'll play that after the song, but thank you so much for joining me, for being here for this 2-hour-long rant. Yeah, I just talked to my wall for 2 hours. I talked to my Post-its. And honestly, I could go for at least another 3 to 4. 3 to 4 hours. And you know what? I'm not going to be offended if someone's like, yeah, that's not for me. Because understandable. Understandable, bro. Like, no worries. No worries. Because I may be too much for you, but you want to know what? I'm never going to be too much for someone that can't get enough. So I just got to find them, or they, you know, and that's okay if I don't. Even if I don't, that's all right. My worth is not tied to it either way. So we're just going to do me. I'm going to play the game. I'm going to shoot my shot as many times as humanly possible, because it's way more fun that way. The stories are better. The relationships are better. You know, it's all good. It's all good. Ladies, I love you. Good men, I love you too. Thank you for giving me hope in your species. Now, please help us in taking down those of your species who are not great. Okay, I will talk to you guys when I talk to you. Go listen to my sex ed podcast, please. It's going to be amazing. Because I want it to be. So I'm going to do my very best to make sure that it is. And if you listen to 2 hours of me just running my mouth just now, just imagine what I'm like when you get me on a topic that I've actually done like genuine research on and am so passionate about that I can't even contain myself. Like, you thought I was passionate here? Nah, that's not even close. This is very low level compared to my passion and love for the field of sexuality and the things that I have to say on the subjects of sexuality. So go listen to The Virgin Sex Educator on Patreon. The link will be in my bio of my Instagram for The Virgin Sex Educator. Please go follow that. I have been completely shadow banned. It's been very annoying from Instagram, so trying to combat that currently, get some followers on there. And of course, rate and review. Go follow my Instagram, Life According to Nikki, and have the most amazing week. Love you all. These have been my thoughts on life, because this is Life According to Nikki.
Okay, buckle up because this is going to be a long one. I have so much beef with this film. There is so much about it that is just so wrong and stupid and like just unresearched, where you're like, hey man, speak to one person. One person, they could have set you straight on this. Like some of it I can so easily say is a me problem. Like, I know the city too well, and like, for example, in all of the scenes where she's supposed to be walking home, she's walking away from where she's shown to be living. What's that about? But that's only jarring to me. That's only jarring to like the minority of people in the world who have lived in Oxford for a time. I can say, fine, whatever, do what you want. Other stuff, again, like very small details, like the kebab van she goes to. It's kind of a testament, I guess, to there is a specific kebab van that's like very well known in Oxford. It's run by a guy called Hassan, but like the van is parked in the wrong place, and they've like gentrified the van in a way it's ugly, and like not what it looks like. And yeah, again, fine, I guess, like whatever. That would not bother someone. But yeah, there's like so much stupid stuff also. So you know that like scene where he's like, ooh, I bet you've never been here, the inner sanctum. She can go there with her library card. She can just go there. That's like fine. What are you talking about? It's like, ooh, let me take you to the library. And I'm like, she's been there. She would have been there already because all she would have needed was her library card. That's such a weird thing to say. Also, not allowed bags in there, but that's a separate thing. And it's just so, it's a bad film also, like it's just bad. But I'm forgetting all of my problems because they are so many. It's just she calls him professor. He's not a professor, he's a DPhil student. He is just a guy doing his PhD. Like, I don't think anyone is appreciating how much this guy is not an authority, which I do, like, I like, because otherwise it's like a student-teacher relationship, which is not allowed and shouldn't be allowed. It's problematic in a separate way. But, like, every time she calls him professor, I, like, physically, viscerally cringe. I'm like, why did she do that? What? He's not a fucking professor, and she shouldn't be. Just the whole relationship is such a weird... No, I feel like that just wouldn't happen. It's so gross. And again, very specific place stuff, but like where she's like coming out of one pub and then they show her coming out of a different pub. You wouldn't know that if you weren't from Oxford. Whatever. Oh, it's still annoying. And it's just, oh God. Yeah, like stuff like her having classes immediately after her matriculation ceremony. That doesn't happen. It just wouldn't happen. Or just, I find it so cringe. The thing is, right, my actual beef with it, like everything, all of my other problems are like nitpicky details, which are like, whatever, like, you know, it is what it is. My actual problem with it, which I think is like problematic of it, is all of the weird way they are about her being an American in Oxford. They're like, ooh, an American, what a novelty. Oh, we haven't seen one of those. What are you talking about? Literally, what are you talking about? You've studied as an international student, Nikki. You know how it is. There are fucking loads of internationals. Like, her being American would be so non-interesting. Like, just not a thing. And the way that they make it like, ooh, oh, this American girl, how odd. No, what are you talking about? Like, the scholarship from, if I remember correctly, from the book, she's supposed to be a Rhodes Scholar. They take loads of Americans. That's their whole thing. And so... like all of the weirdness about her, like the way that people respond also to her, like, you know how she gets all of that kind of like xenophobic stuff in that pub where they're like, ooh, Miss Diversity hire or whatever. I'm like, there's a place for a conversation about xenophobia at Oxford. This isn't it. Like, you cannot be like, oh, we're going to call out how like it would be bad if people were being racist to her, and then also erase every single international from Oxford for the purposes of the aesthetic of your film. But yeah, you put it really well that it's like there's all these big profound themes that you could engage with in a way that could be really, really moving, but you never build enough of a connection with these characters or with the premise to really ever feel like the weight behind all of that. And it never makes any like interesting or nuanced points, even though there were like openings for it. Like, I don't know if you know this, but like in the UK, we're having legislation coming through about like assisted dying, which is soon to be legalized in our country, which is big. And they could be engaging with that, and they just don't at all. And you're like, oh, okay, like you could have made an interesting point about like, I don't know, having the right to choose when you die, and you're kind of not. Just a bit pointless, really, isn't it? But yeah, I mean, it's a naff Netflix film. Obviously, it's going to be whatever. I did see them filming it though. I don't know if I told you this, but I saw them filming it like on my second day working at Oxford or something.